From the numerous QuickTime events to other unnoticeable details, what was Red Barrels really hiding? Hello everyone, this is Moth here, and welcome to part 2 of Breaking Outlast. Now I'm actually going to be dedicating this entire episode of Breaking Outlast to all the differences between the old patch of Outlast and the new patch after the release of the DLC Outlast Whistleblower. So if you guys do happen to like this video and you would like to see more, then why not subscribe as well as turn on post notifications and like the video. With that out of the way, let's begin. Now just by starting up the game, you may notice that there's one less soundtrack that plays just before the Red Barrels logo flashes. Now obviously because the new patch came out after the Whistleblower DLC came out, there is no Whistleblower DLC in the first place. And also, the chapters tab isn't there despite me beating the game. There's also a little bit of a difference in the credits. The font within the load tab seems to be different from its original counterpart. Some options that are excluded in the old patch include showing prompts and also disabling the motion blur, which means you are stuck with the most disgusting visual effect in the entire world. The sound effect for switching between each option also has improved. Take a listen. What I found really interesting on my playthrough is the fact that there's actually no difficulty selector, so even when you press a new game, you can't actually select the difficulty, which really stranged me out because no Outlast is actually known for that. But this is of course fixed in the new patch. Now we've just begun, so please be sure to leave a like, as the best will actually come on later on, so please watch until the end. In the old patch, there seems to be an outline around the pause menu, while in the new patch, it was redesigned into a shadow. Something interesting happens when you try to save and exit out of the game. Normally we put up a warning saying, "Are you sure you want to exit?" But in the old patch it seems as though when you press it you immediately go into the main menu. This would be a lot more practical for speedrunners if I'm gonna be honest. The footsteps are a lot louder than they are in the new patch, as well as a lot less clothes shuffling. The font for the saving text is a lot smaller and quite frankly unnoticeable. This also applies to collecting notes and documents. The climbing animation seems to be a lot different in the old patch compared to the new patch. In the old patch, the batteries are either missing or doubled up. For example, this battery that normally isn't here in this break room. I'm guessing they did this because there would be an overabundance of batteries in the first place. And this isn't the first time this happens. After being thrown through the glass by Chris Walker from the upstairs mezzanine, Miles comes to and sees Father Martin giving him a speech. Now previously it was actually on time, but now it isn't.
And who are you then? I see. Merciful God, you have sent me an apostle. Guard your life, son. You have a calling.
A lot of the audio actually ceased echoing.
Why should we have to pay for it? Why do we have to die? Walker will kill us just for being sick. We're some people. We didn't choose this.
The first save of the prison block doesn't go through until after you wake up in the prison block. This would be very problematic for speedrunners given that in the newer version, the save actually goes through just as Miles is typing on the keyboard. And even after that, when Miles gets up, there's another save that goes through, but when you try to reload it, it just spawns us back to the previous save, which makes no sense. This door here had no glass within the window frame. Thankfully it was fixed. This patient here used to take a lot more hits to kill you. But in the newer patch, he just kills you like any other generic patient. After meeting the twins for the second time and going straight to shuffling, their line of dialogue gets cut off by them disappearing as part of the script, and therefore remaining just the subtitle at the bottom, which stays on for quite some time, but it eventually goes away. Now this right here is probably the most, if not the biggest inconsistency within the old patch. Now normally what happens here in the female ward, we see this patient behind a grate. And he doesn't pose any harm just yet, but after you go collect the 3 fuses to collect the key from the laundry chute, he will come out and start pursuing you aggressively with a baton. Now what normally used to happen is he would come around the corner posing no threat once again, but he is holding a baton. Just as he leaves, you can actually follow him to see that he just simply stands in the middle of this hallway and does nothing. Later on, after collecting all 3 fuses for the laundry chute and coming back downstairs, he's actually there this time. This time with a wooden plank, for whatever reason. Once you collect the key, he seemingly vanishes, and a completely different patient starts to give chase. I mean, you can see why this is scuffed. After finding your camcorder, approaching it will give you a checkpoint, although in the new version, the checkpoint only occurs once you actually pick up the camera. As we all know, this twin right here spawns behind the grate as expected, but it seems as though in the older patch, this is not the case, and he's instead in front of the grate and he can actually kill you. Some minor improvements like this lighting here. And also these candles. Now you might think that's it, but we're actually not done just yet. Now I saved this one for last for a good reason, because it's actually one of the most interesting differences between the old and new patch, and that is the QTEs, otherwise known as quick time events. Now if you don't know what quick time events is, basically an event where you have to use a certain control, and if you don't do it in time or you don't do it at all, then basically you die or consequences will happen. Well, that used to be in the game of Outlast back in the old patch. Now there used to be 5 QTEs in total, all of which were removed in the later patch, and I'm going to be showing you them all today. Here's what happens when you die. Now, I didn't actually include the death for the last one because it plays out exactly the same as with the Pyromaniac. But yeah, what do you guys think of that? Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. In my personal opinion, I think they should have definitely kept these QTEs in the game because it makes Outlast so much more interactive, but there are still a couple of theories as to why they removed them, and it's all just speculated, so don't take it for granted. But one of the reasons could be that in the beginning of the game, it actually mentions that Miles is no killer or a fighter, so I guess that defeats the purpose of having them in the first place. And another one could be that the way they kill you doesn't really make sense. I mean, how can you kill someone just by a stomp to the face? And I know I mentioned that there's only 5, or there used to be 5 QTEs in total, but there's actually 6, and one of them wasn't removed, and there's only one time in the entire game, I think, which is when Traeger cuts off Miles' fingers, and he has to escape from his bindings, and even that is not even considered a QTE, because first of all, you don't die, you can't die, and even Miles himself can break out easily without even controlling him. So it's very weird as to why they actually removed these. Personally, I think they should have kept them, as again, it makes the world so much more interactive, rather than just going through the asylum with jump scares, and that's it, you're just walking through cutscenes basically. And that concludes today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you have, then please be sure to subscribe as well as turn post notifications on and like the video. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this and what I should do next for my videos. Perhaps you guys want me to do the same thing with Outlast 2. I don't know, just let me know. Perhaps I will inevitably do it for the foreseeable future, but we'll see about that. Anyway, hope you guys have a good day, and as always, goodbye for now.